Hello everybody, welcome to this video. We are in Rome, it's a sunny day, it's a perfect day for working out. Today I'd like to share with you an exercise which is very important. It's the row or low row with focus on the lats, on the latissimus dorsi. So let's start talking about what we generally see at the gym. The most common execution for this movement is the so-called barbell row, so on which, with a barbell and weights, of course, we see this kind of movement, okay, which is on which there is firstly an hinge and then the rowing part. All right, so this is a good option, of course, nothing wrong with that. And it's the most common. Also, Dorian Yates was using this exercise, and he always mentions about this being the one of the best exercises for building the lats. However, this exercise is not optimal for a few reasons. The first reason is that when we increase the weight, we get a lot of stress on the lower back. Um, Another issue is related to the focus on the lats, because when we increase the weight, we tend to be more vertical. Being more vertical means that other muscles will be involved, in particular the traps and the rhomboids. So in order to keep the focus on the lats and in order to keep the exercise back friendly, I came up with a solution which, in my opinion, is a very good option, can be performed at home with only bands and kettlebells. So let's see the setup. So I have basically set up two door anchors at the bottom of my door with two carabiners on which I attached safely two bands, in this case, two medium black bands. Okay, then I have also placed at the bottom two kettlebells with two yoga pads. Okay, which yoga pads are just useful for, let's say, putting down the kettlebells in a more comfortable way. I'm using also these grips. As you can see, this is a very useful tool for when we decide to use bands, and in particular in this case on which we are using the bands in combination with kettlebells. This tool can be purchased online, of course, and in my course I suggest a few options which can be easily purchased, found online. So let's talk about the execution of this movement. So first of all, I will grab the bands using my grips. All right. Then I'm going to lift the kettlebells in a way, in a similar way on which I would do a deadlift. So in a very safe way for our back. All right. Okay, then I go back until I have tension in my bands. I sit on my plyometric bench. Okay, then I'm going to lean forward in this way, and I'm going to execute the exercise. I'm gonna do 5 reps. Mm, 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 mm. Okay, then I go back and I put down the kettlebells. All right. So some consideration regarding this movement. So the first point is why using bands in combination with kettlebells. Well, in this case, my intention was to focus on the lats, as I said at the beginning. So using the bands in this case is giving me the possibility to create a line of pull which has basically the same direction of the fibers of the lats. So this is very important when we want to train the lats. So let's assume that I used only the kettlebells. If I used only the kettlebells, I couldn't create this line of pull, okay, because the gravity would create a vertical direction of the pull. So my line of pull with only kettlebells would have been this, and in this way I wouldn't be focusing on the lats, but my main focus would be the rhomboids, the center of my back. So in this way, combining bands and kettlebells, I I'm able to have a line of pull which is very efficient. So another important point, of course, is the low stress on the back. So we can say that this execution is back friendly. So it's very important, especially when we talk about longevity. It's very important to be safe in every execution. It's very important to avoid injury at any cost. So I'm 47 years old. So this age is very important to avoid injuries because at this age, when we make a mistake, we pay at high price. Unlike when we are 30 or let's say until 35 years old, maybe we have the possibility to cheat a bit more without paying the price. After 40 years old, it's very difficult to do that. So let's talk about the grip specifically in this case. So I have used a semi pronated grip because in this case, with a semi pronated grip, I feel more focus on the lats. So this is very important, and using the grips paramount in this case because you need to be able to grip firmly without having any stress in your hand, any pain caused by the bands. So this is a very important point to consider. All right. Next point to mention is regarding the resistance profile. So in this case, the resistance profile is an ascending resistance profile, meaning that the resistance is increasing during the concentric phase. So the concentric phase, of course, is when the muscle contracts. So in this phase, the resistance is increasing, and we will have the maximum resistance at the end of the concentric phase, where because we will have kettlebells and bands applying resistance. However, we will have resistance also at the end of the eccentric phase. So we will have resistance also in the phase on which the muscle is lengthened. So, and this is very important because we want to have resistance in the lengthened position because this is one of the primary driver drivers of hypertrophy. So it's very important, and this is why I'm using the kettlebells. So let's assume I would use only the bands. So let's assume to do this only with the bands. Can I do? Yeah, for sure. So the exercise will be performed in this way. Okay, as you can see here, at the end of the eccentric phase, I don't have resistance. So am I still putting tension in my lats during this whole range of motion? Well, yes, the answer is yes, but I'm not optimizing the resistance during this range of motion. So what I want to do is to have resistance also at the end of the eccentric phase. So this is why the kettlebells in this case become important. So let me perform once again with the addition of the kettlebells so you can see the difference. Lean forward and roll. Boom. 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 Mm. So as you can see, in this case, I felt the tension during the whole range of motion. So I had tension at the end of the concentric phase and also at the end of the eccentric phase. So I had tension and resistance during the whole range of motion. So this is the principle that we want to follow in order to optimize the hypertrophy. Okay, so in this case, basically we checked a movement which is an horizontal pull. Okay, for working out our lats, of course, we can also perform vertical pulls, so in the vertical direction. However, we will check these in some other videos in the next future for sure. So another point I would like to mention, which is quite important, is related to the possibility, in this case, to mimic, to replicate the low row machines that we generally see at the gym. So when we go to the gym and we work out with machines, this is the movement which is generally performed in a low row machine. So the advantage here, of course, is to replicate this movement at home with minimal equipment, with a very low cost, without any waste of time. So this principle about performing at home, replicating the most common resistance profiles is the principle that I'm applying in many other exercises for every muscle group. I have recorded many videos of executions, around 380, and I collected all this video in few playlists. I created a program which is based on my knowledge, on my experience, on the scientific principles, and on the biomechanics principles, which I've studied during the last years, and for which I became quite passionate. So you can find all these content in my course. My course is available on school. You will find the link in the comments. I hope you enjoyed this video, and see you next time.